All right, guys, we've got two scenarios that I could really see unfolding in the early onset of 2025. And if your eyes are wide open, like mine is, and most of you guys are wide awake, these things are not going to come as a surprise to you, but I see two major things unfolding right before our eyes that I think is going to kick off 2025 in an alarming way. And we're going to get after that and much more in today's special weekend edition of End Time Headlines. Let's go.
The following program is brought to you by friends and partners of End Time Headlines.
All right, what's going on, guys? It is Sunday, December 15th. We are officially 10 days away until Christmas Day. This is End Time Headlines, news and headlines from a prophetic perspective, and I am your host, Ricky Scaparo, the founder, the pastor, and the voice of End Time Headlines. We want to welcome you to tonight's program. If you're new, or you've stumbled across our program, whatever the case may be, if you're watching by Rumble, by YouTube, or coming over here from Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, whatever social media platforms, maybe somebody invited you in, we want to welcome you to the program. If you're new, let us know in the comment section below that you're new and where you guys are joining us from. We'd love to hear from you. And of course, if you're listening out there in podcast land, Apple, Spotify specifically, we welcome you as well. Can all of you guys do us a favor before we even get started on this thing tonight? You guys that are watching the broadcast, hit that like button. This is going to help us push our material out there. It's going to get eyes on our program. It's going to get people to find us on these algorithms on YouTube and Rumble. And if you guys are listening by Apple or by Spotify or wherever you get your podcast from, can you give us a good review if you enjoy our content, if our content's any value to you? And it's a blessing to you and your family. We'd appreciate that. That's going to help us out tremendously. And of course, if you'd like to keep up with this here on Facebook, here on Rumble or YouTube or wherever you're watching this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. That's going to ensure that you don't miss anything here on these platforms. And then you can take it to the highest tier. If you don't want to miss any content, and you don't want to be concerned with shadow banning, censorship, suppression, because social media is notorious for that. The best way you can do this is just download our free app, and you can get it and pick it up today at Apple or Android. Again, go to your Play Store, whatever that looks like for you, download it, hit yes to push notifications, and everything's going to be right there and squared away at your fingertips. All right, guys, so I want to talk about we could talk about several things. We could talk about the Middle East, and we're probably going to talk about that this week. But I'm seeing two things. One of these is going to be obvious. One of these is the drone situation. We already knew that we were going to discuss this, right? But tonight, I want to tell you, when this thing first started out, we had multiple scenarios and multiple hypotheses on what this could be. I think, in my personal opinion, and I know our opinions are going to differ. Everybody's going to have their own hypothesis and their own opinions on this. But I have narrowed it down to what I believe is the most logical scenario of what's going on. And when I say logical scenario, guys, it by any means, it's not bringing a peace of mind. In fact, it's a terrifying scenario, but it's the most logic scenario. And we're going to get to that. We're going to talk about that on the second half of this program. And we'll go into detail about that. The first half, though, if you remember, and again, if this is only for regular viewers of our program. If you're new, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But if you're a regular viewer or listener of our program, you will remember that before Trump, when Trump was elected as president, when he was reelected recently, literally days after that, there was a video released, and again, you can go back in our archives and you can find this, and you can go on YouTube and find this. There is a video of I call him a talking head. He was one of these pundits that come on MSNBC, and he did a whole rant for like 2 or 3 minutes. And he talked about how there is coming all of these viruses. There's coming another pandemic. There's coming disease X. There's coming, he named like 6 things that's coming down the pike. He didn't say it could. He said it is coming. He even went as far as to say that these things are going to start rolling in after January 20th. Now, go to your calendar and look and see what is significant about January 20th. Consequently, that is the day in America where, following on this year, in 2025, because we're only about 2 weeks away or left of December of 2024. Let me say that again, got tongue-tied there. There's only about 2 weeks left of 2024 and we wrap this thing up. The ball drops, we call it a day, we move on to 2025. On January 20th of the calendar of this year, something significant is going to take place. It is when the presidential inauguration takes place and Donald J. Trump is sworn into office. Now stop. I said in a podcast, and I don't even know where it was at. I don't remember when I talked about this. Again, this is why we keep all this stuff on YouTube so it's archived. You can find it. I said, wouldn't it be something if just like in his first term, there came a pandemic that swept the globe, shut down the economy, shut down the world, shut us in, locked us in, mandates everywhere, all this stuff, totalitarian measures taking place on his watch, in his presidency, something that was manufactured by man, created behind closed doors. And I said, wouldn't it be something if history repeated itself again, now that he's defied all odds and he's won the re-election, and now he's going to be back in office officially January 20th. I said, wouldn't it be something if something else happens to be created or manifested or pops up or forms or whatever, discovered, gets out of a lab, gets out of a facility. Oh, that's right. That's already seemed to be happening. Monkeys are getting loosed. Laboratories are being found, secret laboratories with all kinds of biological agents in it. Mpox, anthrax, the want virus, all that stuff was in a laboratory in the U.S. Recently discovered. And guess who it was tied to? China. I mean, it's not like we've not had a crazy year with UAPs and UFOs and unidentified this and unidentified that. And that stuff is just ramping up. We've had breaches with the Chinese spy balloon. We've had hackers, cyber attacks, telecommunication hacks. We've had all this stuff. 2024, guys, if we was to do a recap, we could spend a whole hour tonight and we could go from January 1st, 2024 all the way up to right now, December 15th. And we ain't even, again, we still got 2 weeks left. Who knows what this drone debacle is going to unfold and bring us in the next 2 weeks. And I'm telling you, 2024 will go down as one for the books. A lot of stuff happened. Trust me, I keep up with this stuff every day. 365 days a year. Listen, watchmen don't get days off. Just because we don't broadcast on a Saturday or one day during the week or whatever, or maybe 2 days a week, doesn't mean that we're asleep. we're researching, we're watching, we're reporting, we're taking notes, we're observing. And that's what we've been doing. Now, having said that, so let me talk about the first scenario I can see coming early 2025. One reason is because we're now officially into winter. And we all know that with that becomes a breeding ground for viruses. Now, keep in mind everything I just told you. We have a new sheriff in town. His name is Donald J. Trump. He is not on the popularity list. He's probably on the most wanted list, if truth be told. We all know that. Another point. We've got individuals coming out and telling us, not hiding it, telling us that there is coming another outbreak, pandemic, whatever you want to call it. It's coming on this guy's watch. And just to cover all bases, it could come as this, and this. The guy named like 6 different scenarios. One of these scenarios is called Disease X. This is the one that's got everybody freaked out and concerned about. Let me show you, and consequently, I want to show you this. Quote, Disease X outbreak widens as UN sends health team to Congo. Look, that is not my words, guys. This is coming from MSN right here, up here at the top. Actually, it's being reported by Bloomberg, but published, or I guess you could say, redistributed by MSN. You can see right there on the screen, it's from Bloomberg. More cases of a mysterious flu-like illness labeled Disease X were reported in the DRC, that is the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and the World Health Organization has dispatched a rapid response team to help investigate. There have now been over 400 cases of the unidentified illness. This illness is marked by fever, headache, cough, runny nose, and body aches. They've all been reported since late October in the Panzi Health Zone in southwest Congo. And the World Health Organization said in a statement last Sunday, while more than half of the cases involved children under the age of 5, a 50-year-old man hospitalized in Lucca, Italy, is suspected to have recovered from the disease after a business trip to Congo. So we got people coming in and out of there, and they're bringing this to their countries. Sound familiar? 31 deaths have been recorded, down from 79 that was initially reported, according to the WHO. The outbreak is centered in a remote rural area of Kwango province where poor road conditions and heavy rains mean it takes nearly 48 hours to even reach Kinshasa. I believe that's how you pronounce it. The challenges of accessing the region have hampered efforts to confirm fatalities linked to the illness. All severe cases involve individuals suffering from severe malnutrition, adding complexity to identifying an infectious source. So here on your screen, excuse me, here on your screen is the location. In the yellow, this is where these cases have been reported. At least 10 new suspected cases and 1 additional death were reported on the 6th of December, bringing the total number of affected individuals in the Panzi to 416. And again, who knows if that number is inflated or it's well under the estimation or the true number. Again, this is according to a copy radio. The true death toll, however, may be much higher. There you go. As many patients are believed to have died outside health facilities. All right, we got a video on this. We'll watch this as well.
The cause of this disease is still unknown. They don't really know a lot about what's happening with it, but what do we know about what's been spreading?
So cases have been reported since late October. We're talking about 6 weeks already, which is a bit of a concern because that's a fair time lapse in terms of actually getting diagnostics done. We know that there are flu-like symptoms, so we're thinking fever, headache, runny nose, body ache, those sort of things. Most of the cases have been amongst children younger than 5 years old, and all the severe cases are people who are malnourished. This is a very remote area, and so getting the diagnostics done in a country which is already diagnostic abilities are fairly limited is tricky. It's about 48 hours from Congo, the province that this is happening in, to the capital, and so getting all sorts of other medical supplies is also very difficult. We do know that there are teams on the ground, so that is comforting.
But Janice, I mean, earlier this year we were talking about Mpox, and there was the concern about how it was spreading. How is this potentially different? Are there ways that potentially this can be contained and it's not as much of a concern? I wonder how you'd paint that picture.
So with Mpox, it's not airborne, and this we don't know yet if it's airborne, but it might well be because of the flu-like symptoms, which suggests.
Wow. So did you hear that? So she's saying here that this is likely airborne because it has flu-like symptoms, whereas Mpox was not airborne. So this has the potential, guys. Again, we don't know the severity of this. This is over a week old. I mean, this was reported 5 days ago, and we still are in the dark about this. We don't know anything. So who knows how many more people have been infected, how many more people have died, and how many people has been in this region that were not national, or they were nationals, and or they have traveled outside of this infected area and they've come back to their country, howbeit the United States of America or wherever. I mean, this is how the last pandemic, this is how every pandemic starts. This is how these outbreaks happen.
Suggest that. So a non-airborne disease often spreads slower, which Mpox was or is, and this might spread more easily. However, because it's such a remote area and there aren't a lot of thoroughfares or routes going elsewhere, that does reduce risk, and the Congo is exceptionally good at dealing with infectious diseases. They've had Ebola and all sorts of other things, so that is a mitigating factor. There's also the fact that it may already be this unknown disease might actually be something that just hasn't been identified yet because of the slowness with testing, and so it could be something that's already known, like COVID-19, flu, pneumonia. Even measles and malaria. Malaria is very prevalent in the area. So it could be something like that. It could also be a multiple number of diseases that are just showing in this way, because these symptoms, while severe, I mean, there have been a number of deaths, they aren't uncommon to a variety of existing illnesses.
All right, speaking of a variety of existing illnesses, look at this report. Doctors warn of a quad-demic. Yes, that's right, guys, a quad-demic. And they're warning that this winter, we could see this quad-demic as 4 viral infections soar and mask mandates creep back in. Wow. All right, doctors have warned Americans they could soon face a quad-demic of viral illnesses this winter. Experts say a combination of the the flu, the cold-like virus RSV, and the stomach bug norovirus could all strike at once. A mixture of people staying indoors more to beat the cold and mixing over the Christmas and New Year period makes the infections more common. And because fewer people have received the and the flu boosters this year, they fear more could be hospitalized, putting extra pressure on the healthcare system. Dr. Joe Breezy, an infectious disease expert who spent 2 decades at the CDC, including its flu division, said, quote, "We know these viruses are coming." It's interesting, isn't it? They all know they're coming. They're coming. I wonder when they're coming. I wonder if they're coming after January 20th. Just saying. We see them increase every year. We are in store for increases in circulation in these 4 over the next couple of months, and that would cause what we call epidemics or outbreaks. And again, this is being, guys, reported on December 15th, 2024, and he's saying right here that we're in store for the next couple of months. So we're talking about from now to February. Again, this pushes us into 2025. Doctors are issuing the warning because the shot, the jab, whatever you can call it, rates are lower than in previous years. So they're going to blame, you get stuck with this quad-demic, it's because you didn't get that right there. Particularly for the flu, rates are almost half the protective level of 70% or people over 18. Right now, RSV is ticking up, but it hasn't peaked yet. Flu is increasing, but still low. We would expect that to peak around January to March. There you go. And norovirus is increasing, with infections expected to peak around January, probably around January 21st, probably. The want virus has also started to increase now, but it is at pretty low levels. Each year it goes up as well around January. These will go up as people get back on planes and travel for this holiday season. Any airplane right now certainly has people with viruses on board. And we do tend to see big peaks just after the winter holidays as people have traveled, got infected, and then gone back to school. And then here it comes. These 2 doctors, which are infectious disease experts in Tennessee, urge people to get the new flu and jab. Why? So it can boost their body's immune responses to the diseases this year. Then you go on down here, and he says, quote, there is some debate over whether face masks work, with a major study by some institute here previously finding they did not prevent disease. Well, how many people shouted that from the rooftops, but you never heard it because they were silenced. They were snuffed out. They were deplatformed, unpublished on social media. They were completely shut down. Hospital systems in California and both New York City have brought back calls for people to wear face masks early in November, which quickly prompted uproar. All right, let's move on here. Deadly outbreak of Marburg, or quote, bleeding eye virus, leads to travel advisory. Health officials continue to monitor an outbreak of Marburg virus, also known as bleeding eye virus, in Rwanda, which has sparked concerns about a, quote, potential spread outside the country. Wow. The U.S. State Department issued a travel advisory on November the 22nd, recommending that travelers exercise, quote, increased caution in Rwanda due to the outbreak. Travelers may be subjected to additional health screenings when entering and exiting Rwanda, the advisory stated. Similar to the Ebola virus, Marburg is a rare but severe viral hemorrhagic fever that is highly deadly. According to the Centers for the CDC, it has a 20 to 90% fatality rate. Wow. Again, the first case of this was confirmed in September, and as of November 29th, the country had 66 cases of the virus and 15 deaths. Most of the infected people had been healthcare workers. Approximately 75% of the patients with Marburg have recovered. All right, Marburg is one of the deadliest viruses that infect humans. This is according to Dr. Mark Siegel, who is a senior medical analyst for Fox News and clinical professor of medicine at NYU Langone Medical Center. He said it is, quote, very similar to Ebola in that it causes these types of symptoms. All right, so guys, the first scenario that I could really see coming, and if there was ever a time, if the recipe was ripe for this, it would be right now in the winter months, because this is when all these viruses thrive. Okay, if it's going to impact, especially us in the United States, and this is going to have a sinister, dark side to it, I could definitely see this, again, based on all the information we're putting together from what these people have said, what they're predicting, what they have forecasted. So if you didn't catch on, you need to pay attention and watch for some kind of crazy virus, whether it's the Marburg virus, whether it's disease X, whether it's a mutated strand of whatever, and God only knows what. We need to be paying attention to this. All right, here's another one. Scientists issue dire warning over bacteria that could trigger a global disaster. Listen to that verbiage, guys. Experts have warned that mirror-life microbes could present an unprecedented risk and global disaster to life on Earth. The warning comes from the International Group of Nobel Laureates and other experts who say the bacteria could cause extraordinary and unprecedented risk. Mirror bacteria is constructed from mirror images of molecules found in nature. The threat is so serious that experts are no longer working towards the goal of studying mirror life. They have asked funders to make clear they will no longer support the research into mirror life microbes, according to the report in journal Science. But in better news, a viable mirror microbe would take at least a decade to build. But Professor Von Cooper warned the threat we're talking about is unprecedented. He said, quote, mirror bacteria would likely evade many human, animal, and plant immune system responses, and in each case would cause lethal infections that would spread without check. Wow. Again, guys, can you see how the whole scenario is being set up here? The whole scenario, the whole point around work towards mirror molecules is it hope that these can be turned into therapies for chronic and hard to treat diseases. Mirror microbes could make bioproduction facilities which use bugs to churn out chemicals more resistant to contaminations. The authors in the journal write about the risk and say, unless compelling evidence emerges that mirror life would not pose extraordinary dangers, we believe that mirror bacteria and other mirror organisms, even those with engineered biocontainment measures, should not be created. Oh, I'm sure China, don't tell China this. I'm sure they won't get the memo of this. We therefore recommend that research with the goal of creating mirror bacteria not be permitted. Wow. And that funders make clear that they will not support such work. All right, guys. So we got all this stuff brewing in the background. Okay. So again, this is one thing I want to really keep an eye on, and I could see something emerging in 2025. Okay. Now let's go to the drone thing, because I know this is what everybody has been wanting to talk about. All right, look at this report. New Jersey senator says that feds are too, quote, fearful of public reaction to tell the truth about these mysterious drones. Let me say that again. A New Jersey senator is saying that the feds are too fearful of how the public will react if they were to know the truth about these mysterious drones. Let's read a little bit what he said here. The truth is out there, but they're just too scared to tell us. A New Jersey state senator has bluntly accused the government of, quote, hiding the truth about the mysterious drones flying over the Garden State, saying that, quote, feds are too fearful of how people will react. Whatever these drones are doing, the government really doesn't want us to know. This is according to Senator John Bramnick, who told News Nation on Saturday, calling on the Department of Defense to come clean with the American public about what was really happening. All right, let's check this out.
Understanding of how federal agencies may be addressing the mysterious drones. Let's bring in former FBI special agent and News Nation law enforcement contributor Jennifer Coffindaffer. Jennifer, good morning. Welcome back.
Good morning, Hannah.
So it feels like officials on one hand are downplaying what's happening. Hey, it's nothing to worry about. It's not a foreign entity. On the other hand, they seem to be legitimizing concerns. We don't know what this is. What do you make of what's going on and what we, the public, are being told?
Well, and I based this on one of my last assignments was a supervisor at the Weapons of Mass Destruction in the nuclear proliferation arena. And I can tell you that back at headquarters, when things are classified secret, top secret, and sometimes need to know, typically with those classifications, you can't talk about it.
Did you hear that? I want to rewind that because that's huge. Because I want to tell you what I 100% believe is going on in just a minute. And this is all going to build the case for this. Let's go back.
Nuclear proliferation arena. And I can tell you that back at headquarters,
Listen,
when things are classified secret, top secret, and sometimes need to know, typically with those classifications, you can't talk about it. So if this is any sort of drone exercise or something that's going on, they can't talk about it to anybody except for those with a need to know.
So can we talk about that a little more? We know the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, was given a classified briefing on the sighting separate from the meeting that Caitlin just mentioned. What information could he be getting in this classified setting that we're not privy to?
He could be told exactly what is going on. Is the government running some sort of drone operation to test their drones to see, what they do? I mean, we're in the middle of, really needing to understand drone warfare and what our drones can do. I truly believe this is something that's classified, and we're not going to find out unless it's declassified. We're not going to find out. That might send people into more panic. So with the latest rise in these drone sightings, I mean, it's been seen by thousands. They've been seen by thousands. The FAA posted this video on Saturday. Let's show it to our viewers.
There's a lot of talk about reported drone sightings, and I'm sure you're wondering if they are allowed to fly where you are seeing and watching the news coverage about them. Here are the facts. Generally speaking, it's okay to fly them in most areas as long as you stay below 400 feet. And if you're flying at night, the drone must have certain lighting. Drones provide services such as infrastructure inspection and package delivery, and you might even see one in your neighborhood. The FAA regulates drones to keep our nation's airspace safe and efficient. This includes who can fly them, where they can fly them, and at what altitudes. For more information, please visit our website.
So while it doesn't answer any questions about these mysterious drones, what does putting this video out tell you about the FAA's thoughts on this?
Oh, it's certainly downplaying that there's any issues. And the government has come out and said, listen, we don't think they have any malicious intent. There's no reason to be concerned. And they're not of a foreign actor. And so to me, it's more important to say what they aren't and to get those off the slate than to necessarily know what they are.
We don't know if anything illegal is happening. What will the FBI and other agencies be looking into here?
Well, they're going to be looking into whether this is something that is truly of U.S. origin and is an operation. They're going to be looking at all of that. And the individuals in the FBI that will be handling this have the need to know and have classified designations. So they're going to be able to see what's going on. And I think that's why you don't see any sort of panic or anything from government officials. Sure would be nice if they'd tell the public, though, Hannah, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, because you ruled out, and the government has as well, that this is not a foreign entity, but people are still panicking. And you mentioned we may never know. Is this common?
Hannah, it really is. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes in terms of things we do, particularly in the area of mass destruction, chemical warfare, nuclear counterproliferation.
She just gave it away right there, guys. This whole interview is rich with revelation. This woman, I believe, knows. This woman already knows what's up, but she can't come out and blatantly say it. So she's using, if you listen to her words carefully, she's telling you what's going on.
There's so much that is kept, secret and top secret. That's why they're designated that. So we're not going to know, but people are seeing it with their own eyes. Something is going on. I think that's what we have going on here.
All right. Now, having said that, and I just wanted to pull up that video because, again, she gave a lot of revelation in there if you were paying attention. This all explains to me. Now, the simplicity of this is not that complex anymore, guys. The reason why, number one, that our officials are telling citizens not to shoot these things down is because they are ours. They're not foreign adversaries. They belong to us. Number two, why are they there? What's their purpose? Again, all classified. Why? Because, again, I'm going to share with you without disclosing names. And this is, and I'm not the only one saying this. There is multiple sources out there that are confirming what I'm going to tell you. From what I have heard from the most stable-headed people, I'm not talking, and guys, this thing has spiraled completely out of control. It's turned into hysteria. People are I mean, you've got people actually believe that we're under an alien invasion. That's not what's going on. We're not under an alien invasion. This is not Project Blue Beam. No, it's not that. What is going on, more than likely, what is happening is that these drones belong to our own military and government, and they are releasing these drones with the intent to intercept biological and nuclear agents. And I'm not talking about like officials. I'm talking about like weapons, WMDs. Now, what does that look like? It could be small tactical nukes. It could be nuclear warheads. It could be suitcase nukes, whatever. Because there's a lot of that going around. Some say it's this. Some say it's that. Some say it's this. So that's why we're going to just sum it up in WMD, weapons of mass destruction. These drones, in my opinion, I believe 100%. And this is why the White House, CIA, the FBI, the National Intelligence, all of these are playing dumb. Again, is you got to think about this, guys, logically. If they came out and told the public, and they told the citizens of New Jersey and New York, where this is predominantly happening, and again, I'm not saying it's not happening all over the place. It's happening all over. It's happening across the nation. It's happening overseas. It's happening in the United Kingdom in different locations. A weapons of mass destruction threat is not only being made against America, guys. It's being made to multiple nations. Okay, there's some things going on behind the scenes that definitely merits much prayer and intercession. Okay, so the reason why they're not going to come out and say, especially to the citizens of New York and New Jersey, that, hey, by the way, these drones are trying to snuff out weapons of mass destruction, small nukes, whatever the case would be, then people would panic. And then you would have think about this, guys, you would have a mass influx of people getting in their vehicles, getting in taxis, getting in Ubers, getting in some type of transportation. It could be taxis. I'm sure there's still taxis out there, but probably not as much. But they would be trying to get out of the city. I mean, would you? Let me ask you something. If the government came out, emergency broadcasting network, and said, and told us in an alert or a message that our government is actively sending drones over your neighborhood night after night after night, trying to detect nuclear radiation, or trying to find this WMD, you wouldn't freak out a little bit? You would probably be like, we've been talking about taking a vacation. Let's take that vacation. Let's I'm telling you guys, people would freak out, and they know this. And in my opinion, this is why they're not disclosing to the public their true intentions of what they're doing, because they know the repercussions and the responses of people. So this is what I believe, guys. If I had to lean on the scales, I'm telling you, this makes more sense than any other explanation out there. I do not believe this is a foreign adversary, because our defense is not going to allow a foreign adversary to fly drones like this over a major airport and shut down the runway. It's not going to happen. They're not going to allow a foreign adversary to fly drones over the U.S. Capitol. By the way, there's new footage out there that are showing these things over the U.S. Capitol. They're not going to allow that to happen. Okay? So why are they allowing it to happen? Because they are ours. These are friendlies. They're not spraying stuff out. Well, I saw a video with somebody. Guys, again, this stuff gets thrown. And you got to understand, we're in the age of CGI. I'm telling you, there is people out there that are good at that stuff, and they can create things that you would think was real, and it's not. There's a lot of stuff out there that is artifacts, CGI, manufactured, And it's not true. It's just not true. So I'm trying to, again, guys, cooler heads will prevail. Now, having said that, does this make this any less serious? No, because this is major. The fact that they are sending this many drones looking for these WMDs, if that be the case, which is a likelihood, then we need to be in prayer. And guys, that's why I want to encourage you tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube, our YouTube channel. We're going to pray about this. We need to pray for our nation because this is serious. We're going to come together as a corporate body. We're going to pray tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. So having said that, that's my thoughts and my opinions on this. So 2 things, I'm going to close with this. 2 things that I could see that could be a serious situation in 2025 is, number 1, another outbreak, pandemic, whatever you want to call it. And number 2, Lord willing, if we are to detect these things and our U.S. government is able to detect where these things are, I'm talking about if that's the case, if these are WMDs and they're able to retrieve them, that would be wonderful. But if not, if we're not able to successfully retrieve these things, guys, again, we could be in big trouble. This could be major, major, major in 2025. And remember, there's a lot of people saying, guys, that they see 2025 as something major going down. And people, even intercessors have talked about this. They've warned about this. So this is what we need to be praying against is, God forbid, if just one of these things was to be detonated in a major city, we're talking, not only would it be catastrophic as far as death tolls, but we would be plunged immediately into World War III and something that probably most of our generation has never experienced in our lifetime. So listen, endtimeheadlines.org, endtimeheadlines.com. Again, if you haven't picked up our free app, we want to encourage you to do that today. Pick it up at your app store, Apple, Android, whatever the case may be. Download it today. Hit yes to push notifications. You'll be squared away and good to go. And again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button, smash that like button, hit that bell notification, hit that subscribe button. And guys, this ministry is a partner-supported ministry. If you'd like to support this ministry, if it's a blessing to you, encourage you, equips you, informs you, why don't you go ahead and pray about becoming a partner? You can do that 2 different ways. You can give electronically or through check or money order right there on the screen. End Time Headlines, P.O. Box 1391, Monroe, Georgia, 30655. So guys, we're going to sign off for tonight. Listen, we plan on being back here tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, and then tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern for our prayer. And then, Lord willing, we'll be here Tuesday. And then we may take off Wednesday because it's Wednesday, midweek service. And then Thursday, in fact, we will. We'll be off Wednesday because I remember we announced that a while back that we're just going to take off Wednesday because most people go to their own churches and whatnot. So tomorrow twice, Tuesday at least once, Thursday at least once, and Friday at least once. Again, all Lord willing. We've got some equipping messages. We're going to bring some equipping messages, some good talking points, and of course, we'll keep you up to par with the latest breaking news and prophecy viewpoints as well. We've got a lot of stuff going on with Syria and the Middle East. We want to talk about that this week as well, so be looking for that. So guys, we love you. We appreciate you. Have a rest of your weekend and be blessed and be safe. And until we see you on the next one, I pray the Lord bless you, keep you, and may his countenance shine upon you. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you for listening to the End Time Headlines podcast. We pray that you've been blessed and equipped by today's message. For more information about how you can help partner with our ministry, please visit endtimeheadlines.org.